welcome to Dollars and Cents. I'm Heather Sullivan. Thanks for joining us. We have some great stories for you to help you save a lot of money this week from the best consumer reporting from Fox stations across the country. First up, the new way that you can file your tax return electronically for free and you don't have to meet income limits. A year from now, required vehicle safety inspections are going away, but you're still going to have to pay that fee, and some say it could even cost you more in the long run. How to land paid apprenticeships for jobs that are in high demand, and the training is free. And low-cost pet care that can save you some big bucks later on your furry friend. First up, I know you don't want to talk about taxes, I know, but we got some good news for you this year. We have a new option to file our federal tax return for free this year, no matter how much money you make. The IRS is launching Direct File.
When it comes time to file your 2023 tax return, you may be eligible to participate in the IRS Direct File pilot.
The IRS is testing its new Direct File program in 12 states, including Texas. Direct File lets taxpayers file federal tax returns electronically for free with no income limits. Those with simple returns, like taking the standard deduction and the earned income or child tax credits, can use it. But those who itemize or take certain other credits cannot.
And to find out if IRS Direct File is right for you, visit directfile.irs.gov.
Free File is also available. The income limit was raised to $73,000. Qualified households make sure that they claim the earned income tax credit.
1 in 5 do not take the earned income credit, which can be upwards of $6,400.
Taxpayers are urged to file early to prevent identity thieves from stealing their refunds.
And here's the tip for your viewers. If you owe taxes and you file, you still don't have to pay until tax day. Filing is a separate transaction from paying. The two are not the same.
The standard deduction was raised to $13,850 for individuals and $27,700 for joint filers. And tax brackets were adjusted up by a record 7%, which could lower your rate. If you earned $42,000, for example, you drop from the 22% bracket to 12%.
There were increases to credits like the earned income credit, it went up, and some other additional deductions for people who are self-employed or have side gig activities.
For federal student loan borrowers, remember interest that you pay is tax deductible, and loan forgiveness made between 2021 and 2025 is generally tax-free. And Baker Ripley is expanding its free neighborhood tax centers to 27 sites in Greater Houston and Montgomery County. And the volunteer income tax assistance sites are also opening up. And I've put links to all of this information for you on Sullivan Smart Sense on Fox26Houston.com. And Steve Noviello will have more on choosing from different types of tax preparers later on in the show. Now, this next story has everyone talking. Self-checkout in stores may actually be contributing to rising numbers of theft. The National Retail Federation says that businesses suffer more than $100 billion in losses each year due to store theft. And Fox 26 business reporter Tom Ziska highlights a new survey that's suggesting that widespread use of self-checkout systems may be making it a little easier.
With too many instances to count of brazen thieves grabbing what they want and walking out the store, we're talking about something considerably more subtle. The Lending Tree survey finds nearly 70% of consumers believe self-checkout contributes to easy shoplifting. But most, like Geo, try hard to scan everything, even though there's the occasional item that slips through.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot, and it sucks in a way because, like, I guess you're just in the process of getting everything done quick and just like I said, getting in and out. So
what do you do when that happens?
Oh, I feel guilty.
Another 15%, though, more than 1 in 10 have purposely stolen something while checking out, and almost half plan to do it again. Of them, the numbers get interesting. Typically, it's men more than women, and younger consumers lead the way, with 31% of Gen Zers and 21% of millennials admitting to purposely taking something without scanning it. About a quarter of parents with younger kids report taking items, and by household income, 18% of six-figure earners say they have stolen at self-checkout. more than any other income bracket. In the Lending Tree survey of about 2,000 people, of the people who accidentally took something they did not scan, only about a third went back to the store to make it right. The average self-reported value of these stolen goods was about $60, and nearly half of those who say they will do it again say they will target the most expensive item in their cart the next time. I've got all the results on my Facebook page if you'd like to take a look. Watching You Money, I'm Tom Ziska, Fox 26 News.
That is crazy. Just hope they don't get caught. Well, a year from now, beginning in 2025, Texas drivers will no longer have vehicle safety inspections. Governor Abbott signed a bill eliminating them for non-commercial vehicles. However, you will still have to pay the fee, and your vehicle must still pass emission tests in 17 counties to renew the registration. Fox's Rudy Koski in Austin takes a look at possible impacts from this move.
The 10-minute inspection shop in Cedar Park had a steady flow of customers Wednesday. The annual auto checkups also came with a few questions about reports of a free pass that's coming this time next year.
Well, nothing's free.
Bill Schwartz owns 3 shops in Austin that provide safety and emission inspections. He's spending a lot of time talking about HB 3297, which was signed by Governor Greg Abbott back in August. The legislation eliminates vehicle safety inspections for non-commercial vehicles starting in 2025. It's a move Schwartz opposed because he believes the inspection rule keeps defective cars off the roads.
It was done because the small town folks, legislators from the small towns, thought that it was a big inconvenience, which it is. However, it's going to cost lives of Texans.
Lawmakers did not eliminate emission testing, which is a federal rule. That's still required in Travis and Williamson counties, as well as 11 other urban counties with ozone problems. And there's another catch. The new law did not eliminate the fee for safety inspections. The state simply adjusted it and moved it, adding $7.50 to your annual vehicle registration fee. The money will be split up with $3.50 to the Texas Mobility Fund, $2 to the State General Fund, and $2 to the Clean Air account. That's a surprise to customers like Jennifer Marks.
I would prefer we get rid of the whole thing, but hey, if that's going to take one step out of my day to not to have to come here and I still have to pay the fee, I'm fine with that. It's probably better than what I'm doing today.
Eliminating the safety check in the inspection business may have unintended consequences. Schwartz believes businesses like his will have to close down. That could make it harder to schedule emission testing. And then there's the human cost.
Yeah, I've got 20 employees that are going to be looking for a new job this time next year if nothing is done about this fee.
This case of political bait and switch doesn't sit well with Tracy Doyle. He had this message for state lawmakers.
Quit jacking around with the laws. Make it easy on the citizen to live here instead of having to jump through a bunch of hoops.
The solution to avoiding emission testing gridlock and saving jobs apparently is raising the fee.
Yeah, the emission fee needs to go up to somewhere between $20 and $25 in order to make it worthwhile for people like myself to run these businesses and keep these guys employed, and in order to get driver's inspections in a timely and easy manner.
The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality would have to pass a new rule to increase the service fee for emission testing. Currently, there's not a standard rate. Fees range from $18.50 in Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, while it's just under $12 in the Austin and El Paso metro areas. In Austin, Rudy Koski, Fox 7 Austin News.
Now, 17 Texas counties will still require annual emissions tests, and that includes Brazoria, Fort Bend, Galveston, Harris, and Montgomery counties in order to renew your car's registration. Now, meantime, I know you have been feeling it. We all have. It's been getting a lot more expensive to drive because auto insurance rates have been rising painfully. But there are some ways that you can cut down your premiums that most drivers don't even try, as you're about to see in this great Money Saver report.
Just like gas, groceries, and just about everything else we buy, your car insurance now also costs you more.
A lot of us are seeing our premiums go up. That's because the cost of paying claims for auto insurance companies has gone up. The cost of parts and the cost of labor to make repairs has gone up, and there are a lot more claims now than there were a few years ago when we just weren't driving as much because of the pandemic.
Kevin Brassler is the executive editor for Consumers Checkbook. He also says don't assume your insurance company is giving you the lowest rate just because you are a good driver, or that other companies will give you the same rate or charge more.
That's just not true. We find that really almost every driver, for every driver, that there are huge differences in premiums from company to company, and the only way to identify the companies that will offer you the lowest rates is to periodically shop around.
Brassler says car insurance companies are now using information like your credit score to determine your rate.
And insurance companies are increasingly hiding how they calculate rates behind these proprietary algorithms.
So what can you do to reduce your car insurance payment?
The first thing you want to do is call your own auto insurance company. Find out if there are any promotions that you can qualify for. It could be as simple as setting up e-billing or auto pay to get a discount on your policy.
Consumer finance expert Andrea Warrock says you can also reduce your monthly premiums by making payments more frequently, increasing your deductible, or bundling your car insurance with your home insurance.
There are online services like thezebra.com that say they will not spam you when you enter in your information to get price comparisons from different auto insurance companies.
Warrock says you can shop around online or by calling other insurance companies directly.
We're looking at up to 20% savings by comparing rates, bundling services, increasing your deductible, and asking for those different promotions.
Some great ideas. Okay, now let's talk retirement, because women on average are saving 30% less and have less money in their 401ks than men, according to a new Bank of America study. And the Census Bureau reports that 50% of women and 47% of men have no retirement savings. Social Security benefits can help ease the financial burden, but they will not be enough. And of course, you have to wait until you're at least age 62 to collect. You will also get less money if you start taking it before your full retirement age. So for example, if you turn 62 this year, your benefits would be 30% lower than at your full retirement age of 67. The average Social Security benefit last year was just under $1,900. New data shows a startling figure on how much debt Americans are carrying. A LendingTree report says that Americans are shelling out an average of $1,583 a month to service their debt. That's up from $1,200 a month in 2020. And here are some more average payments that have gone up as well. You got mortgage payments. They average $1,855 now. Car payments are averaging $690. That is just crazy. And personal loans are averaging $517 a month. And the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau just released a plan to close a loophole and restructure the overdraft fees that big banks charge. It would close that loophole that claims that has led to the industry since 2000 to be able to collect $280 billion in overdraft fees. The feds, including the White House, would like to see overdraft fees, which can reach up to $35 a pop, come down to a reasonable level somewhere between $4 and $14. In 2021, it was found that the overdraft fee, per a government report, was higher than the actual overdraft. President Biden said this is how companies are ripping off hardworking Americans, and Americans who live paycheck to paycheck are the ones juggling these charges most often. Once they hit, they can often have a domino effect on money for other expenses or perhaps even more overdrafts. Highly paid jobs, but not enough people are trained for them. So we are talking about the skilled trades, of course, and that's why the Houston Gulf Coast Building and Construction Trades Council is again recruiting for its free apprenticeship readiness program. And this can be a life-changing program. I've covered it for the last couple of years, and it can lead to paid apprenticeships with benefits. And we're very proud our past stories on the program have actually helped to lead to many of its recent graduates who are now earning as they learn. From welding to pipe fitting to construction, skilled trades workers are highly paid and in demand, as many boomers in the field are approaching retirement. That's why the Houston Gulf Coast Building and Construction Trades Council is looking for a few good men and women for their free 3-week apprenticeship readiness program. Some recent grads saw our story on the program last year.
I was actually Googling to see if I could find some welding courses, a school, a program nearby, And I came across the Fox News a segment where it was explaining about the apprenticeship readiness program.
The program prepares candidates for paid apprenticeships in skilled trades such as construction, electrical, plumbing, and pipe fitting.
It also provides them with 40 hours of construction math. We go through blueprint reading. We go through green construction and how we lower the environmental impact.
The 5-year apprenticeships start at $15 to $25 an hour with health and pension benefits and yearly pay raises.
Once they graduate, they're making around $25 to $45 an hour, plus the benefits that I made mention, health care that covers the individual and his entire family, including those that are spouses and children, and then a pension to retire.
Program graduates say it gave them the skills they need to build their own futures.
I was able to see that there are more options, that there are pipe fitting and operating engineer, which is my specialty.
I have learned a lot on how to be safe and keep others safe, as well as how to go out and give it my all and to show up and do a great job.
It's great to see women taking advantage of this too. There's far fewer of them in these industries, but they're taking applications for this program now. It's for the April program, and I've put a link to it for you on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. Now, for many of us, our pets are a big part of the family. We know how much I love my kitty, but when they get hurt or sick, it can mean some pretty big vet bills. The Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin shows us how some preventive care can help to avoid those later costs.
I have a couple of senior dogs at home, so that basic care, that yearly checkup can be really important in staying on top of things. But Dr. George McCommon says no matter what age your pet is, there are 3 things that you can be doing to help him or her get healthier.
Many of us started off the new year vowing to get in shape or lose weight or maybe drink a little less. But what about resolving to take better care of our pets? Dr. George McCommon is a professor of veterinary science at Fort Valley State University. And he says investing now in some basic preventive care for your pet may pay off down the road. First, McCommon says, try to get your pet up to date on his or her vaccinations.
Vaccinate your dogs for parvo, particularly the puppies. They need to get it.
If you have cats,
when they're kittens, vaccinate them for feline leukemia, vaccinate them for the various feline respiratory diseases.
Rabies vaccinations are required by law in Georgia. And ask your vet about what other vaccines your pet might need based on his or her lifestyle.
What's the other thing that kills dogs in Georgia? Heartworms. Preventable.
A parasitic worm spread by mosquitoes. Heartworm disease usually affects dogs, but it can also affect cats. And it only takes a single mosquito bite. Treating heartworm can cost anywhere from $500 to $1,100, but the average monthly heartworm preventative is just $5 to $15.
It's a simple, easy thing to prevent. The big thing is you just need to have them on heartworm pills or heartworm prevention of some sort.
And Dr. McCommon says protect your pet from accidents like getting hit by a car.
You've got to keep your dogs and cats out of the street. The dog's on a leash, the cat's inside.
And there are organizations that offer either no-cost or low-cost vaccine clinics. Many of them are rescues. Some of them also offer pet food banks for pet owners who need some food assistance. For your Fox Medical Team, I'm Beth Galvin.
Plus, I just love watching all the cute puppies and kitties. All right, believe it or not, the dreaded tax prep season is here. I showed you earlier, you can now file for free this year using Direct File in certain cases. But if you are hiring a tax professional, Fox's Steve Noviello has an excellent breakdown on the different types of tax professionals and how to choose the one that's right for you.
Of course, not everyone will use a tax preparer, but it's important that if you do, you understand exactly who you're working with. An EA, or enrolled agent, is specially credentialed and will be necessary if you've got a particularly complex tax return, similar to a CPA or certified public accountant, who also will have special certifications and will be kept particularly abreast of changes in tax law. Now, what most of you will likely work with is a non-credentialed tax preparer. There are about 700,000 of them in the United States. These are those folks who generally only work during tax season. And while they're perfectly qualified, it's important to understand if their particular depth of knowledge is appropriate for your tax situation. It's also imperative to understand how far they can take you. For example, a tax attorney, an EA, a CPA, yes, they can prepare your return, but they can also defend you to the IRS in case there's an audit or some sort of issue. A seasonal tax preparer is not going to be able to do that. I also want to make sure that you understand the fee structure for any of these folks. Find out exactly what it is ahead of time, right? Is there a filing fee, a processing fee? Is there a follow-up fee in case there's an issue or changes need to be made after your return is filed, or is that included in the upfront cost? Now, if your taxes are complicated enough to use a tax preparer, I want you to play the tape all the way through. First tip is this: beware of any kind of spectacular promises on the front end. I can't tell you how many times someone will come to me and say, gosh, they offered me a free Apple Watch and that's why I used this person. Turns out the value of the watch was deducted from my refund. Or they said I could get my refund faster. Turns out it was a loan and I had to pay interest on the money. Or whatever the case may be, understand exactly what you're getting into. But even more importantly, I want you to make sure that whoever it is that you're working with is somebody who you can find again. This is particularly important when you're dealing with these seasonal tax offices. Yes, things are great through April 15th, but what happens April 16th when you've got a problem and you show up to the tax office and now it's a Spirit Halloween store and everybody's gone, right? When you are in the moment, get the correct contact information in the off season for the person who's preparing your return and also any sort of supervisor who represents the company that's employing the tax preparer. You really want to make sure that if you have a problem, you're able to find these folks after the whole transaction is completed. We'll be sharing more tax tips all season long. Facebook.com/SaveMeSteve.
Great information. And that's our show. Thanks so much for joining us. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. It's all Heather Sullivan, Fox 26, if you have any questions, and I love getting your notes. And you'll find more ways to save every day on Sullivan Smart Cents on fox26houston.com. And we'll see you next time on Dollars and Cents.